Welcome back, members, to another week. Thank you for being a member of Merge Club. And today, the topic is about...
Flirting.
Flirting. Okay.
Flirting.
Give me your meaning of flirting.
Engaging with the intent to pursue. So that's really my definition there. That's
interesting.
my sense.
So, are you saying that a person can flirt as long as they don't have an intention to pursue? That's what makes it safe. And if a person is quote unquote flirting with no intention, then technically it's not flirting.
Well, flirting with the intention or the intent to pursue doesn't mean you have to pursue after that, the flirting. After you finish flirting. A lot of people flirt in the moment of it, or on the, just the basis of, okay, that's a good looking woman or that's a good looking man. Even though they're already in situations, a lot of people just flirt for quote unquote fun because it's a man and a woman thing, or whichever, way you go with it. But some people just flirt because they can.
Okay. Well, I'll give you my take on it. I think that, in some cases, flirting can be harmless. But I think you have to be very careful of what you consider harmless. For example, if you are in close proximity of someone, say you're going to see somebody on a regular, you're going to spend a lot of time with that person. I would say it's a dangerous game to flirt, because for some people, flirting may just be, a warm smile or a compliment. And sometimes it depends on who you ask, because one person may say that's not flirting, that's just me being, a friendly, open person, presenting myself to the world as a friendly, open person. And then somebody else might say, well, you don't got to go so far as to make it a warm smile, or you don't have to go so far as to add a compliment to it. But I would say determining whether or not it's going to be harmless just depends on the close proximity and consistency of your contact with a person. So say, for example, if you work with a person, right? I would say flirting is a slippery slope, because you might, give a compliment or you might give a warm smile to someone just because it might be a pick-me-up for that person, right? It may do nothing for you, but you may say, I know the person could use the pick-me-up. But what you don't realize you're doing is you might be arousing something in that person. That person might take that compliment to heart. That person may take that smile to heart. And now they're looking at you with googly eyes and they're thinking, hey, they might have a shot. So I do think it's something to be careful of. Now, if in passing, and this is something we haven't talked about a lot, but in relationships, in marriages, you're still human. And a lot of people will say, I'm married, I'm not blind, or I'm married, I'm not dead. Which means I have the capability and the intent to be 100% loyal to my partner. However, God gave me eyes to enjoy his beautiful work. That includes nature as well as his creatures, right? So to admire someone's attractiveness or even give a warm smile, I would say maybe if you're going to take that route, reserve that for touch and go situations. Like maybe you're never going to see this person again. You probably see this person in passing, and that would be the environment where I would say that flirting is safest.
Okay. So you're saying that if it's in passing, it's not too dangerous as it is with two people confined in the same space for long periods of time. That's
what I would say. But for me, I think flirting just should be off limits completely, right? I think if you're in a relationship, just cut the flirting off. But another person might say, well, that's acting like you're dead. You're not dead. You're just married, or you're just in a relationship. Have a little harmless fun in passing. But my personal advice, I'd rather not touch it, and that's just me.
Well, what I would say is flirting is a dangerous thing, and I know that some people do, even if they are in relationships. But the reason why flirting is a dangerous thing is because it happens at the beginning of every relationship. Flirting is at the beginning of every relationship. No, with that being said, two people flirt, and it leads to something else. It leads to conversation. It leads to deeper things. And a lot of relationships are stemmed from just a regular flirt, from a look, from that smile, from that curiosity of, okay, what's going on? I gave her that look, she gave me back that look. We smiled, or I complimented, she took it well. So flirting can be a dangerous thing. No. Should you feel some type of way? Because sometimes flirting comes from one end, it doesn't have to come from the other. Sometimes if a person is flirting with you, that doesn't mean you must go ahead and flirt with that person as well. It can definitely be closed down. It could definitely be, a two-sided thing if it comes to the test. Because a lot of times, a lot of people think, okay, because that person is flirting with me, it's okay for me to flirt back with that person. It doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be that, because you might be in a committed situation and that person is single and flirting with intent to probably engage you seriously. Because a lot of people, even in passing, or just knowing somebody, just meeting somebody, or knowing somebody over time, a lot of people don't know where people's life is at. A lot of people don't know where people stand, if they do have a relationship or not, or what is going on in their life, or are their relationship open. So a lot of people, flirtation comes from different places. Majority of the time, I would say, flirting can be a real thing. Meaning when two people flirt, or when a person flirts with you, they really flirt with a serious intent. Because let's be honest, if a person flirt with you and you give them back that, that same energy, where would it stop?
Right, and so that's a point that I wanted to touch on. You made a great point that just because someone flirts with you, it's not an obligation for you to return the gesture. The person who's in a committed situation, is that person's responsibility to create the boundary. The pursuer, whether they're single or whether they have their own situation that maybe they just don't respect, they have a job to do, and that's to flirt with you, get your attention, arouse your interest, whatever the case may be. Or maybe they are just having fun. But the person who is in a committed relationship and being pursued, it's that person's job to let the person know that this is not a two-way street. And you can do that without being rude. There are ways to be diplomatic about things. There are ways to set boundaries and be assertive without turning people away from you, especially in a professional environment. You have to have a good working relationship, so you don't want to hurt someone's feelings or turn somebody off to the point where you can't get your job done together. However, you can assertively, just by not returning that gesture, let that person know that this is not a two-way street and I'm not going to engage you in this back and forth.
Or sometimes you can, sometimes you can call it out. A person flirts with you. Hey, are you flirting with me? And if that person followed by saying, maybe, then, you can let that person know, hey, you know what? I don't really do the flirting stuff. I'm in a relationship, whatever it is, or it won't go nowhere. Some people flirt for fun. The people that flirt for fun will flirt, a couple of times. Or a one-time thing just to, to play with it. But then you got continuous flirters that flirt on a daily basis and will try. These people are
persistent.
Exactly. These are the flirtations that are dangerous. Why? Because that person definitely have an intent, and they will continue to pursue until they see where you are definitely at. So it's always best to address a flirtatious situation right there in the moment, instead of letting it go on and go on and go on. Because if someone flirts with you and you receive that flirtation and probably return the favor of it, majority of the times it won't stop.
It'll escalate.
It will escalate. You will be getting asked out. You will be put in some situations, in some compromising situation that you probably weren't bargaining for.
Now, it's very important to check yourself if you find that you are convincing yourself that, oh, I can flirt, it's harmless. I know I see this person every day. I'll probably see them for the next X amount of years, which is a slippery slope, right? Because at some point you're spending almost an equivalent amount of time with the people at work, if not more than the time that you spend with the people at home. So you have to be very, very conscious of your actions, because really relationships come from comfort. People letting their guards down. And it's really easy to let your guard down with somebody that you see every day, that you spend a lot of time with. You know, that person might be opening up to you about their personal life. Then you might feel inclined to start opening up to them about your personal life. Next thing you know, you're really feeling like, I could trust this person. I really like this person, not just as a colleague, but I like the person inside, you know? And so with that, when you add flirting to that, it can get to a point where you lose your self-control and your willpower and your ability to manage the situation. And that's when things escalate. So be very careful if you're trying to convince yourself like, I would never do this, I would never step out, I would never, you know, I got this under control, but I'm just gonna flirt for fun. Well, flirting for fun for a day or two turns into flirting for fun for a month or two. And then flirting for fun for a month or two turns into flirting for a year. And some people don't make it to a year. Before the year comes, you've already betrayed your partner or, you know, did something that you regret.
And also, sometimes the person that you flirt with feels like, you know, they are closer to you than you think. They feel like you gave them access. They feel, you know, compelled to you in a closer way than others would. They feel favored by you. Just because you give them that opportunity to flirt with you, they feel automatically like, okay, you know, she's let me in. And that might be a problem, especially if you're a person that probably your partner picks you up from work, or, you know, your partner might comes by the job, or your husband or your wife might, you know,
come and visit occasionally.
Exactly, because that person, if they don't know your life or know, you know, what's going on, or know that you're in a relationship, you know, your spouse might show up at the wrong time while that person can turn the flirt off, and something might be said or might be done that might be dangerous. Absolutely. And a lot of people consider flirting to be cheating, while a lot of people don't. The people that do consider it to be cheating, I would think they lean on the side more so to say some of the things that are done while flirting should be contained because it lets another person in, just like, you know, what I just explained. And you have people that says, well, flirting is innocent and flirting has no you know, has no ties to do anything, you know, serious.
Yeah.
But is flirting cheating?
Well, you know, popular belief says that cheating is anything that you would not do directly in front of your partner if they were looking right at you and if they could hear everything that you were saying. So if you know that you're with a partner who, you know, you guys can go out and socialize, they work this side of the room, you work that side of the room, because some couples are just very extroverted, people persons, and the lines between flirting and not flirting are kind of blurred there. You know, a man might say, oh, that's just my girl, that's how she is, you know, she's the life of the party. Or a girl might say, that's just how my man roll, you know, he's just charming and charismatic, but I know he's coming home with me at the end of the night. So it really just depends on the two people involved. However, I would err on the side of popular belief. If you wouldn't do it in front of your partner, just don't do it. Because the thing is, a lot of the times when people do things when other people can't see them, as O mentioned, what you're doing is you're building patterns and habits that everybody feels comfortable with. And it may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but one day your partner, you know, may cross paths with this person, and those patterns and those habits that you've created with that person are so deeply embedded that the turn off is just not happening. You know, maybe there's a nickname that you call your spouse and only you call them that. And now y'all are all at the Christmas party and you notice that this individual is calling your partner this name that only you will call them. And that's an example of how, you know, when you blur those lines, it's destined to come to light at some point.
Yes, as I said, majority of relationship starts by flirting. Start by two people noticing each other. Start, giving compliments or whatever it is. So flirting is definitely a dangerous game, and as I said, if it's two people that has no self-control, if it's two people that are not, I would say, do not have the willingness to turn it off sometimes, because people are different. You got different people that operate from a different space. You will have the person, as I said, that could turn it off when knowing that, okay, we flirted and that's what it is. Then you have the other person that has a weaker mindset, that is probably insecure, and that flirting with that person make her feel powered or make him feel powered. So he continues, and sometimes people build false hope in their mind just from flirting. People will feel like, okay, they're way ahead further, in a situation by just flirting. So I would say careful, if you get yourself in a flirtatious situation, or if someone flirts with you, if you feel like it's not right, if you feel like, it might be a problem, if you feel like, and also in a workplace or in a work setting, sometimes flirting could also be considered a lot of time to be sexual harassment, because in a work setting, a lot of people go hard with the flirting or flirt to a point where it becomes uncomfortable to another person, and it goes down as sexual harassment.
Of course. And both male and female can be victims of sexual harassment. I don't know if men, report and say, this lady is coming on real strong, man. I told her I was married, or I told her I had a girl, and she just every day, she got a love letter on my desk. Like, can you talk to her? Most men, I don't know if they're gonna, do that just because the ego. But, flirting in the workplace is a very thin line. So just be mindful of that. And, maybe that can even work towards your willpower. If you do have a flirting issue, just tell yourself, look, I don't want to get caught up with the wrong person at work who might call me out, and now I'm out of a job. So think in terms of that. Emotional cheating is a thing, right?
Yes.
A lot of people think cheating is only physical. I didn't touch that person, so I didn't cheat. But you confided in that person. You was a listening ear for that person on a regular. You're having lunch dates with this person. You're having secret conversations with this person. And before you know it, you're more fond of this person than you are of your partner.
Before you know it, also, you are in a relationship.
You're in an emotional relationship.
Yes.
Yes, and it is cheating, because just because you might come home to your partner every night, you may come home every night to your man. If emotionally somebody else has your loyalty, because that's the person that you're opening up to instead of your man. That's the person that you're confiding in instead of your man. That's the person that you're daydreaming about instead of your man. Yes. You have officially cheated, whether you've ever touched that person or not.
So basically, flirting could put you in a relationship even if it doesn't involve sex. No, you're in two relationships because of the desire to confide in another person or to feel close to that person because the way you are. And over time, emotions will attach, emotions will start to seep out, and things will happen. Because if a person flirts with you and you flirt, you are flirting back with that person, most of the time it's a person that you might be slightly attracted to, or a person that you feel like, okay, there is some form of attraction. And attraction comes through many different forms. Sometimes it's physical, sometimes it's mental, sometimes it is spiritual. So attraction comes through many different forms. You might be spiritually attracted to that person, and and with the flirtation that went on, you guys are joined in a sense that over time you guys develop a relationship that doesn't involve sex. It's still dangerous.
Yes, because you want to. Yes. If you've gotten to a point where you're deeply emotionally entangled with someone else, sex is the only thing that y'all haven't been able to touch, and y'all want to. So it's still cheating, because if you could, you would.
Yes.
If you could, you would. So that's definitely a thing. Let me ask you this. Do you think if you have an admirer at work, if you have somebody coming on strong to you, is that something you should share with your partner, or do you think that's better left alone?
Well, to be honest with you, if you do have an admirer at work and you know, the moment you pinpoint that this person is an admirer, I think it's something to address. The longer you try to stay away from it, or the longer you try to tell yourself, okay, you know what, I'm going to act like it ain't happening, is the more it's happening to you also mentally. It takes a toll on you, because the moment you know and don't address it, every day you see it, every day you know it, every day you know that person flirts with you. If you don't address it, it never stops. It's something that you have to address that will cut it off. But when I say address it, let that person know that you're in a relationship. Ask that person, why are you always flirting with me? Is there an intent, behind your flirting? And that person will probably tell you, give you the real. If it is, it is. And if it's not, then at least you know right there, and you can tell that person, well, I'm in a relationship, so, whatever you're doing or whatever you're feeling, it's not gonna happen. It's a smile, or if it's what it is, or if it's a 1-day thing or a 2-day thing. If you address it and it still continues to happen, then I say it's something that you might want to address to your partner.
Okay.
I would say if it's not that severe.
So if it's recurring, then you want to bring it up. If it has recurred more than how many times?
If it's recurred more than once or more than twice, and you have addressed it and it still continued to happen, it might be a problem.
Okay.
Because not all the time flirting is a problem, as we outlined a couple of times. But sometimes it can be dangerous. Flirting could lead to a lot of things further than what it is. It could lead to stalking. It could lead to a lot of things.
Yeah, because you have to remember, everybody's not operating from the same space that you are. Just because you like the way someone looks, or you like a trait that a person has, it doesn't mean that mentally you are on the same page. So you could be dealing with a person that has an unhealthy attachment style.
Yeah.
And, for example, maybe they didn't get much attention in their life, much adoration or anything, and just by you giving them a daily compliment, because you know that person may have eyes for you, and maybe it's even a little ego boost for you. You got to be careful. You got to check yourself. This person may be attaching themselves to you like, this is the only person who's ever given me this level of attention. I definitely want to pursue them. And like O said, you can now have a stalker on your...
Or somebody might feel like you're leading them on. Because flirting, oftentimes, a person could feel like because you're flirting with them, you're leading them on. Which is not the same thing. But it's very dangerous. Because in a person's mind, if they feel like you're leading them on, then they might take action. Yeah. That person might call you when you're home at night, and do some crazy stuff. That person might send you text messages that are unwarranted. That person might start doing some stuff that you be totally uncomfortable about. So it's best to address it. It's best to nip it in the bud. If you're a single person and you welcome that flirt, though, I would say go ahead and pursue. But if you're a person in a relationship, or feel to yourself like this is not right, or whatever it is, then I'd say nip it in the bud. For persons in relationship, or for persons that are in situations that are serious, you just got to be mindful and careful of that.
With all that being said, guys, hopefully this video provided some more insight. If you're in a situation where you're not sure if you're sending mixed signals, or you're in a relationship but you're getting flirted with and you're wanting to know how to handle it, or maybe even your partner is in a situation and you're concerned about, that person being pursued, this video should give you some insight into how to tackle that and nip it in the bud before it becomes an issue. Because once it becomes an issue, things are harder to fix in reverse, right? So let's take control of our situation and definitely nip things in the bud that are not serving our relationships. So thank you so much for being a Merge Club member. As always, we will see you again next week right here.
Are you me lover, you me want to be my only cheek. Girl, give me your finger, me have to put a ring on it. Night nurse, me addicted to your nightly trick. Never get a loving like this, like this.